Bon après-midi à tout le monde. Bon samedi. Good afternoon, everyone, and good happy Saturday. That's what I was trying to say. So here we are once again for another episode of my live feed here. Don't forget also, for those of you who might not have seen it on my Facebook, but Gosselin will also be. Can you hear me now? Testing 1 2. Hello. Let me know if the audio is okay. Laisse-moi savoir si vous entendez. Donnez-moi une petite seconde. Je vais justement. Attendez 2 petites secondes. Je vais juste faire quelque chose vite fait. Copy link location. I just have to send something to somebody real quick. Paste that there. No, that's not it. Of course not. See more. Give me this. Can you all hear me now? Vous m'entendez? Parfait. Maintenant, c'est ça. Je voulais juste vous faire rappeler que mardi, je vais faire un petit spécial pour mon travail. C'est-à-dire qu'ils m'ont demandé de faire une présentation d'1 heure sur le sujet de photographie mobile. Et puis, fait que c'est ça, je vais faire ça pour Gosselin, pour le collège. Et puis, c'est ça, je vais commencer probablement à faire des cours. Bonjour Marc, bonjour Louis, Annick, good morning or good afternoon John, Uncle Bob. Welcome back to another episode of our photography with AJ. And today we're going to be talking about our next challenge, our next weekly challenge, which we had as far as the poll that I had sent out last week. The second choice was to do something on still life. So aujourd'hui, on va parler de notre défi de la semaine. Le défi on va faire du photographie de nature morte. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to call up my outline here for today. I'm going to start my stopwatch here to keep me on track, which in the meantime, whoops, that's not what I want. I got too many icons on this watch here. Hold on. We want to do this so we'll do it this way, like so. So we're going to talk about still life photography, and for those of you who aren't too up to speed on still life, as a matter of fact, what we did on our last challenge, which was macro photography, can also fall into the general category of the genre of still life, but this comes directly from the painters, actually. And as I don't know if you saw on the description itself, but we're going to switch over here to just give me a second for me to find where is it? There it is. It's over here. So still life photography, what it is basically, if you look here, Wikipedia defines still life photography as the genre of photography used for the depiction of inanimate subject matter, typically a small group of objects. It is the application of photography to the still life artistic style. A good example would be also food photography, which we have an image here. Typically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about in the first third of this episode, we'll talk a little bit about the style, and then what we'll do is we'll go into more, not the style. Sorry, we're going to start with a little bit of an introduction to still life photography. On va commencer avec une petite introduction à la photographie de la nature morte. Je vais vous montrer quelques exemples que j'ai pu trouver sur l'internet en tant que tel. Et puis justement, je t'avoue que le genre de nature morte nous permet, puis c'est quelque chose que j'ai découvert en travers du recherche sur ce genre-là de photographie, c'est que ça va pouvoir vous aider encore plus à maîtriser la composition en tant que telle. In still life photography, it's going to help you. It's going to help you a lot in the way of composition and also, most importantly, lighting. How to light your subjects. Typically here, you're going to be those of you who have speed lights or flashes. We're going to talk about that towards the end. We'll talk about different equipment that you can use in still life photography, but most of it, as it is, still life photography are setups. They're actual poses that you create using inanimate objects. Okay, and that could be anywhere from fruits and vegetables to kitchenware. If you look at this here, actually, if I go, as always, I will, no, not that one there. As always, I'll be releasing the sites that I'm using here as resource and reference in the details of in the comment details of the episode. So if you look here, these are perfect examples of still life photography. And God, I hope you're not hearing what's going on in the house. J'espère que vous n'entendez pas ce qui arrive en haut. Mais je t'avoue que justement, la nature morte, c'est de photographier tout ce qui est, pas nécessairement ce qui est mort, mais que tout ce qui est inanimé. Fait qu'ici, on a plusieurs exemples, justement. Ici, vous avez, on va prendre ça, on va la mettre un peu plus large. Vous voyez comment est-ce que l'image en tant que telle, il y a une relation, excusez, en travers de ces objets ici. Et l'histoire, c'est la relation entre ces bols, l'assiette, la façon qu'ils ont ajouté même la vase avec la fleur, l'éclairage. Ici, on utilise, le photographe ici en tant que tel, il a utilisé un seul source de lumière qui était la lumière naturelle. Et puis, je t'avoue que autant que vous pouvez utiliser plusieurs éclairages, plusieurs sources de lumière, vous pouvez vous en sortir tellement bien juste avec une lumière de fenêtre et avec un réflecteur si vous en avez. Si vous n'avez pas de réflecteur, écoutez, tu n'as pas besoin nécessairement de sauter dans l'auto puis aller chercher, un réflecteur ou un diffuseur en tant que tel. Vous pouvez utiliser certains objets dans la maison, exemple. Avec moi, à part j'en ai des réflecteurs et des diffuseurs, oui, mais j'ai aussi j'ai une petite collection justement de foam core, ce sont des cartons avec le foam dans le milieu, blanc. Puis ça fait une parfaite, c'est parfaitement, c'est un parfait réflecteur pour la lumière. What I'm saying here is that if you look at this image here, so here we see a relationship more or less between the bowls. The person here also used you look at the contrast between that white bowl and the black bowl that's in the background, the vase with the flowers in it. It tells a story, and this comes from like 200, 300, 400 years ago when artists were practicing lighting. This is the perfect environment for you to discover how to light subjects, what lighting can do to bring out the story you're trying to create here. And as I was saying, in this particular case here, we see exactly that there's one source of light, which is most likely window light, and as a matter of fact, using just one light works very well in this image. Now, the other thing that you can also do is start using stuff like reflectors and diffusers and so on and so forth, and you don't necessarily have to go much into running into the car and looking for a reflector that you'll be able to use. You can use, and I have my own collection of foam core boards myself, where the different colors, whites to black, grays, to control different aspects of the light, how much I want to reflect or lose the light on the opposite side. If you look at this image exactly here, there's probably a black screen on this side over here, so that the light that's coming in from the window is not being reflected back onto the objects here. Let's have a look at another You know? So let's have a look here. Look at here. Here we have, whoops. Well, this one here, this is a red onion. You know, what you can do. That's not what. Well, here, okay, we'll use this one here, and this is from World Photography Organization. There you go. So with World Photography Organization, if we look at each one of these here, you know, here we see this is using studio lighting or possibly speed lights also. But you'll notice how the lighting is being controlled on both sides of the subject to separate it from the background also. So you know, use this week's and it's as simple as picking out maybe just one object like this eggplant here and seeing how you can photograph it in a way that you can, you know, tell a story that, you know, that would be interesting to everybody. Okay, we're gonna, well, still, I don't know, actually, yeah, you can call this still life. I mean, nothing in there is moving or anything like that. Here's an example here. You know, still life to be true to the genre. It is a very general style of photography, but in this particular style of photography, because you're taking so much control over the light itself, that, you know, you can look at this beautiful image here using the reflection of the pear. Si vous voyez comment est-ce que la lumière, puis comment est-ce que aussi le fond il est totalement noir, mais l'éclairage est vraiment sur le poire en tant que tel. D'avoir une surface en dessous qui est réfléchissant, que c'est probablement un miroir plus qu'une vitre, parce qu'on voit très bien que c'est une réflexion très... Regardez les épices sur cette photo-là. So, ça ici, c'est tout des exemples de la photographie de nature morte. Comment est-ce que vous pouvez l'arranger pour conter une histoire qui est concret et puis qui est... ça peut être du nature morte que vous trouvez sur le moment aussi. Malgré qu'aujourd'hui, dans l'état qu'on est, c'est un peu plus difficile d'aller chercher ces photos-là, mais la nature morte nous permet de réellement voir comment est-ce qu'on peut éclairer notre sujet pour que le sujet soit attirant à l'œil, surtout. Et puis, cette photo-là, pour moi, j'adore cette photo-là. Quand même, qui est en noir et blanc. Mais regardez les réflexions dans les fourchettes, la réflexion qui est sur la table. En passant, pour ceux qui veulent savoir, oui, Annick, exactement. Here, the subject is a lens ball that's being held up by the talons of the forks. And if you haven't used the lens ball, mind you, I've had one for over a year now, and I've used it maybe twice since I have it. But it is interesting on what you can do with the lens ball. You know, and you can also use the lens ball, looking through the lens ball to a setup that you've done with still life behind that lens ball. As you can see in this particular case here, we're looking through the lens ball and we're seeing the grate that's on the back of the in the background, as a matter of fact. I don't know if you can. It took me a while to find the infinity or the edge of the table itself. You have to look for it really well, but you can see it. If we look at this one over here, look at this particular image, and basically cette photo-là, c'était quand même intéressant dans le sens que c'est un abat-jour, c'est une lampe. Et puis, le photographe, lui, a tenu une marguerite par-dessus l'ampoule. Puis regardez comment est-ce que c'est quand même intéressant. Puis j'ai vraiment, vraiment, vraiment hâte de voir qu'est-ce que vous allez sortir en fonction de sujets puis d'histoires que vous allez pouvoir compter. I'm really, really looking forward to this particular project, as I really want to see what you guys can come up with as far as compositions. You know, this particular, if you look at this image here, look at the symmetry. If you would take the image and you'd cut it right down the middle on the vertical or even on the horizontal, I mean, the way that this image, it's so symmetrical, it's fantastic. So here's a beautiful black and white, and we would call this particular photo here would be called a low key, in the sense that the background, you could actually call the other image here also low key, with the black background that it is. But this one here is a perfect example of a low key image here. If you look here, we have les cintres dans une garde-robe. C'est tout en fonction de comment est-ce que vous l'éclairez, que vous le prenez en prise de vue. C'est ça. Good. Attends, donne-moi 2 petites secondes. Fait que c'est ça. Dans les différents styles de photographie qu'on peut faire avec la nature morte, on peut aller chercher du photographie sur la table. On peut faire autant de la photographie produit qui pourrait être inclus dans la nature morte. On avait déjà parlé alimentaire. On peut aussi faire des belles compositions avec, disons, des objets perdus. Si vous trouvez quelque chose dans la rue ou que vous trouvez quelque chose dans votre jardin, que vous l'avez perdu l'année passée, puis vous l'avez tout à fait trouvé regardez ceci, c'est les... je dirais pas plutôt des pétales, mais des branches peut-être, mais c'est une tige d'un oignon, comment est-ce qu'on appelle l'oignon? Green onion, l'oignon vert. Puis regarde qu'est-ce que le photographe a fait ici. Il a mis 4 mini glaçons dedans pour faire sa composition. Cette photo-là, c'est réellement éclairci par le dessous de le sujet, parce qu'on voit très bien que la lumière passe en travers de voyons, pas la surface, mais la surface, la feuille en tant que telle du bas. So if you look here, so what I was saying is that, your still photography can include anything as far as categorically, anything that would be tabletop, anything that would be product, anything that's still, anything that doesn't move. For example, if you're doing product photography, it involves shooting inanimate objects. It can be considered as a type of still life. However, these photos usually focus on providing a clear image of the product without distraction. If you look at this particular image here, you see the skin of the green onion, and there's no distraction aside from the ice cubes that are in the skin of the onion. If we continue here, this is a perfect example of product photography where you have a perfume bottle, and the way that they set it up, they used the shells, the flowers, the fish, the butterfly, to accentuate what was the story of this particular bottle of eau tendre. I'm trying to think of the perfume here of this bottle here. This is a perfect example of product photography. You also, as I had mentioned before, you have the food photography, which could be anything from vegetables to fruit. It could even be rotting fruit, if you like. It could be rotting. I read not too long ago that one of the aspects of still photography was the fact of everything alive must die, and nature morte in that sense depicts the passing of time on an organic subject. So one of the things that you could represent is exactly that. It's having a ripened fruit or ripened vegetable, and then show the same fruit or vegetable that has passed its point of ripeness. C'est-à-dire que vous pouvez aussi, tu sais, quand on parle de la nature morte, il y a une définition de la nature morte qui expliquait que ça pourrait montrer justement la vie et le cycle de vie à la mort d'un sujet qui est organique. You also have, found, just to go back, you also have found objects, which could be anything from a penny on the floor that you found outside on your walkway, or it could be something that you lost in your yard the year before and all of a sudden found, or it could be just something that you found that somebody else lost. These things can all be used. Here we have a mask, a ski mask. And if you look, we also have a little bit of, death, and we have, I wouldn't say rot, but you have, you can see the usage of the, or the degradation, I should say, the degradation of the mask itself. Here we have, this is a simple paper clip in a puddle of water. Regardez comment est-ce que c'est quand même, c'est complètement simple, c'est totalement simple. Comme photo, c'est une... je m'en rappelle pas le nom du... j'ai un blanc de mémoire. Peut-être que je parle trop vite. Mais... Uncle Bob, le gant de OJ. OJ's glove. Wait, there you go. That could be one too. Look at here. This is another example of la nature morte, still life. The place settings, the way that they're positioned, the choices of subjects that they put here in this whole, and the fact that it's a black, everything is black, more or less. These things, these are the types of things I want. Ton bonne, merci Yannick, merci Louis. Here we have a statue in a misty pond. All these things. Here we have the deterioration of scrapped cars. Quand même que c'est une photo aériale, ça pourrait jouer sur la nature morte. On voit très bien que c'est des bagnoles. Et puis, tu sais, l'arrangement comment est-ce qu'ils sont faits dans comment est-ce qu'ils sont arrangés dans la cour à scrap. Tu sais, c'est sûr et certain, ça a été pris sur le vif, mais ça ajoute très bien en nature morte. Voici, on a un autre exemple pour préparer l'alimentaire. Tu sais, comment est-ce que cette photo-là a été prise pour que on voit le dégoûtage. C'est sûrement la façon que ça a été pris, c'est que l'appareil photo il était aligné en fonction de verticale quand on avait tenu le fouet vertical. Mais il y a tellement d'exemples qu'on peut prendre. Ici encore une autre photo de produit. Here we have another photograph of product photography. So there's so much that, and I honestly I can't wait to see how everybody is going to come up with their ideas for this still life photography. And this is something that you can do totally inside your house. Find something that's lying around and just find a way of making an interesting image that, you know what, and listen, I'll be honest with you. Even when I shoot my own photography, I always shoot with that final idea where it's going to go on my wall. I want to make my image impressive enough that it'll work on its own on my wall. Not on a screen, not that the screen is a bad thing, but the quality that you have in a screen will never, in my humble opinion, will never match what we can still do in a large print. So the more that you force yourself to create something to a certain quality, that in itself will guide you in your photography and in what you shoot and in when you shoot it. C'est-à-dire que qu'est-ce qui est toujours à l'arrière de ma tête quand je fais bienvenue André, je vois que vous êtes arrivé. Voyons. C'est-à-dire que qu'est-ce que j'ai toujours dans l'arrière de ma tête, dans l'arrière de mes pensées quand je fais de la photographie, c'est comment est-ce que je peux prendre telle photo en fonction de toujours le réussir à le mettre sur mon mur pour qu'il soit assez intéressant, pour qu'il soit assez impressionnant. Oublie pas, tu sais, plus que j'ai certains erreurs ou défauts dans la photo, plus que je vais l'agrandir, plus que ces défauts-là vont devenir évidents. So, tu sais, en tout temps, en fonction de mon post-traitement, en fonction de mon cadrage, en fonction de garder mes capteurs assez propres, est-ce qu'il y a des poussières? S'il y a des poussières, il faut que je les corrige. Parce que le moment que vous allez imprimer ça à un 1624 ou un 2436, ton poussière qui était genre une tête d'une aiguille pourrait sortir comme un genre de un 10 cents dans un 2436. So, en fonction de la qualité de ce que je produis, je cherche toujours d'avoir la meilleure produit final possible. Puis encore aujourd'hui, il n'y a rien qui bat une impression. Puis c'est une impression qui va vous sortir quand vous pensez à votre produit final, c'est ça qui va faire augmenter votre niveau de photographie. Fait qu'on va juste continuer ici. Voyez, regardez ça, c'est des sacs. C'est des sacs en plastique. Tu sais, une télévision, puis il y a une seule lumière qui rentre par la porte qui est ouverte ici. Tu sais, vous avez même l'effet que la télévision il est allumé, la télévision en tant que telle produit aucune lumière comparée à ce qui rentre par la porte. If you look at this image here, you know, the TV is not even lighting anything up, but the exposure is based on the TV versus the light that's coming in from the open door here, right? You have a little paper boat floating in a puddle of water or floating on a little mini pond. I don't know. A section of your kitchen or a section of I don't know. You know, these things are all interesting. I mean, here we you know, with the images that are on the wall of the family, we know this is either a kitchen or it's a family. It's a family gathering or a place of gathering for the family here, you know, and we see how old this particular house might be. Oops, sorry. No, I'm just going to go back here, and so we've got still life there. Well, give me just a sec to go back to my yeah. Escape. Well. Okay, there we go. So if we look here again, you know, if you want to do something with a little bit of movement in it, this is a perfect example of something with movement in it. No, that's not what I wanted. View image. There we go. Look at this. You know, with the flame in one glass, you've got, here's a perfect representation of air, water, fire, and earth. You know, you've got the earth, the branches in the earth with the, you know, that are letting the dandelion grow. You know, these types of things are what we can do with still life, and they're all posed, they're all setups, these are the, you know, you conceptualize your story behind your image, and that's what still life, you know, it really teaches you, or it allows you to practice how can I tell a story using an object that's just so mundane, something that we use every day. You know, just, you know, take a fork, take a spoon, take a knife, and how can I photograph this particular item and make it interesting enough that people will want to look at it. Okay, that's one way. That's actually a pretty good way of summing it up. You know, here we have food. Look, this is a beautiful image. it's a little busy, but I mean, everything is tied into, the oranges, the chocolate, the caramel, ingredients is to what? To some kind of a cake, some kind of a, the sugar cubes, the ginger. No matter where you're looking, you're finding something new in this image. The clovers, the clovers, I mean, comment est-ce qu'on appelle les... ça ici, là, c'est les... cloves. Cloves? I think it's cloves. Il y a un autre mot en français, je ne me rappelle pas encore, mais quand même. Regardez cette photo-là, comment est-ce que c'est. C'est quand même assez intéressant. Puis l'éclairage, ici, l'éclairage, je pourrais dire qu'il y en a, j'en vois un principalement, premièrement, mais il y a pas, on aurait pu utiliser des diffuseurs, ou pas des diffuseurs, excusez, mais des clous de girofle, c'est ça, exactement. Fait que, vous voyez comment est-ce que on peut créer des belles, tu sais, ici, j'ai trouvé un autre, you know what, je vais juste prendre ça vite fait. J'ai oublié de le faire tantôt. Where's my... On va la mettre là. Non, oui, vas-y. OK, really? OK, c'est ça que je veux. Après ça, je vais faire ça. Puis après ça, je vais faire ça. En passant, si jamais vous voulez... si jamais vous tombez sur les sites que j'ai... que je suggère dans mes détails de l'épisode en tant que tel, vous avez juste besoin de la mettre en Google ici, puis cliquer sur l'icône qui est là, puis il va prendre le site au complet pour le traduire. Justement. Voilà. Et puis, souvent, qu'est-ce que je vais faire aussi, c'est que je vais y enlever tout le... Attends. Oh, je l'ai perdu, là. Really? Ah, peut-être parce que c'est en travers de Google, mais quand même. So, tu sais, ici, vous avez, un plan de comment... justement, un plan de comment procéder. Fait qu'ici, c'est sûr et certain, planifiez votre photo. En photographie de nature morte, vous ne tombez généralement pas sur une grande photo par pure chance. C'est quelque chose que vous allez vous monter vous-même. Nous allons toujours utiliser un trépied, c'est sûr et certain. Qu'est-ce qui est très important en fonction de la photo en tant que telle, c'est la composition, l'éclairage, le contexte, le contenu. OK. So if we look here, plan out your photo. The whole idea is that you won't generally stumble upon a great photo by sheer luck. You have to create that photo. Okay. Typically when you're doing your setups yourself. Always use a tripod. Your composition is most important. So composition, lighting, your background, and in what context that you have to make everything fit together. Think about how the background will look in focus and out of focus. Worst comes to worst, take it outside. See if it'll work better outside. And just enjoy what it is that you're doing with whatever subject you've picked. But there is always, 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 needless to say, you can always take a beautiful picture of whatever is in front of you. Okay? You just have to find and see of that object or that subject what attracts you to it and figure out the best way to represent it in a visual image. Okay? Here are some other great shots that I found on the internet. So, this one here, it's titled Please. And if you look at the image itself, I'm going to do this like this. If you look at the image itself, do what you love and love what you do. Regardez l'histoire de cette image ici. I mean, c'est quand même... c'est beau, c'est intéressant. Faites qu'est-ce que vous aimez et aimez qu'est-ce que vous faites. Puis ici, on voit très bien que, tu sais, dans ce cas ici, cette personne-là aime le café. Elle est peut-être, probablement un écrivain. Elle est aussi artiste avec les peintures. Et elle adore les fleurs. Je veux dire, regardez comment est-ce que vous pouvez représenter l'action de popsicle. So, in this particular one here, it's the action of popsicles. Melting, quenching one's thirst. You see and the fact that you have the fruit that are up in the air like this. This one over here is called foldable, pliable. And we actually have a dead leaf that we can actually see through, and many more. Now I don't know if this doesn't look like it's a multiple exposure. It looks really like that's the background. Here you have patches of light, dappled light. It's something as easy as using dappled light. Look at this one over here of raspberries. This is beautiful too. We have the world is ours, and we have a little globe right here where we have the desk with the little branch, the lamp looking out into the world. Perfect example. Nature morte. This red orchid here, l'orchide rouge. C'est un macro, mais regardez comment ça marche. Ça marche tellement bien. Puis l'éclairage, il n'y a aucune place nécessairement où c'est totalement éclaté en haute lumière. Regardez les trois cuillères. Les trois cuillères plus bas. La réflexion dans les trois cuillères, c'est les carrés qui sont dans la grille en dessous. Voyez, c'est moi, café, mon café, le mien est en haut, en train de se préparer, mais regardez comment est-ce que pour moi, ça, c'est fantastique. Comme on parle de les bines de café, le moule de café, les grains, je veux dire les grains, le café moulé, le petit, voyons, pas la machine à café, là, mais vous savez qu'est-ce que je veux dire ici. Après ça, le produit final. Here you have the coffee beans, you have the grinder, then the ground coffee into the pot, and then from the pot into the you can't mistake in the story of this from the coffee bean to the coffee cup. This is the journey that the coffee takes. Here's a perfect example of just here's a model car. Okay. By the way, this has always been my dream car. I have always wanted to have a Westphalia. Ça, je t'avoue que c'est un de mes rêves de tôt, là, c'est d'avoir un Westphalia comme celui-ci. But look at how beautiful, and this is a macro shot, because we can tell that this here is just a little statue or a little toy, a toy car. And then you have all of the pine cones that have been thrown up into the air, and look at and the fact that the bokeh, see the bokeh, how the quality of that blur. This was definitely taken with a. I can tell that this was taken with a macro lens. Okay, I mean, what you can do with still life, and I want you to well, just here, I mean, this is all. Yes, it's all prepared photography. It's all posed photography, but that's the whole purpose of still photography. And if you follow the painters of the time, one of the things that they practice, and I know my father, when he started painting a while back, for the first year and a half, this is what he was doing. He was doing still life. These are all beautiful examples of, F11. Now, let's talk a little bit about gear. Okay. So, gear, well, let's get to it. So, gear-wise, in still photography, what's most important, obviously, is light to begin with. So you can use anything from studio lighting, which would be, hold on just a sec, let me open up a new window here. I will go back to my work here. So anything from basically come on, give me a studio light here. Are you kidding me? Okay. Perfect example of a studio kit. So this is a basic kit here. Actually, no, you know what? I don't like that one because it's a continuous. You could use continuous lighting if you wanted to, but this one here is really fluorescent lighting. What we're looking at more is, for instance, this is a particular popular lighting system, Ellen Chrome. And what we're looking at is, where are they? Compacts. So you're looking at either an RX1 or RX4. This is a perfect example of a lighting setup that you could use for still photography. In this particular case, you could also use this for product photography. So, you know, soft boxes, diffusers. If you're doing something, you know, in-house, you can, whatever extra lighting you can find in the house. I mean, you know, it's not a time right now to start shopping and looking for equipment. But, you know, even I've used just a regular flashlight to light my subject, depending on how I wanted to light it. I just, you know, hold up a flashlight if you want to use continuous lighting. Otherwise, just to give you an example real quick, you know, there's this. So if you have speed lights, typically if you're using your entry level, cameras which have flashes integrated on the cameras, and you have a speed light. So in this particular case here, I have a speed light. This one's a Godox, my V1S for Sony. You can use, a lot of the times, your Canon Rebels, your Nikon D5000s, your D3000s. With your integrated flash, you can use that, or the 7000s. You can use that to trigger one of these flashes here. If you don't have anything that's strong enough in the continuous lighting situation. Otherwise, I mean, you know, you can always use, and depending on how you place a flash, even a flashlight, as you can see here, you know, depends on. Vous voyez, même que si j'aurais pas eu un speedlight que je préfère, c'est à vous que je préfère utiliser un Cobra que d'utiliser la lumière continue en tant que telle, parce qu'un Cobra, vous allez chercher tellement plus de lumière dans cette seule éclair-là. Ça prend une certaine connaissance comment est-ce que les flashs marchent, c'est sûr et certain. Sinon, vous avez des panneaux, les panneaux lumineuses de Dell, qui sont aussi très intéressants si vous voulez rester plutôt avec de la lumière continue. Après ça, trépied, ben, c'est sûr et certain, vous voulez toujours avoir un trépied. Je cherche après ça. Vous avez des réflecteurs. C'est un réflecteur, normalement, c'est juste un disque avec un surface qui est blanc, que vous pouvez l'utiliser pour contre réfléchi. Vous avez, disons que vous avez un seul lumière, ben là, dans ce temps-là, avec un réflecteur, si j'ai une lumière qui vient de ce côté-ci, puis je veux quand même abaisser, atténuer, je veux dire, l'ombrage que cette lumière face à moi me donne, ben, je pourrais mettre un autre, pas un diffuseur, mais un réflecteur de ce côté-là pour justement éclaircir un peu plus l'ombrage qui est créé par ma lumière principale. Fait que vous avez les réflecteurs. Si vous avez aussi des boîtes à diffusion, une boîte à diffusion en tant que telle, c'est ça ici. So you can use, if you're going to use one single light, for instance, if I'm just stuck with this flashlight, what I can do is I can use a reflective surface, preferably white, and use that opposite my light source, and that will allow me to lower brighten, I should say, the shadow created by that one harsh single light using that reflector. Otherwise, you also have, as you can see on this image here, we have three different soft boxes, and a soft box is just a way to sculpt to push the light further forward in a particular shape. So if you look at this one over here, we have an octagon. If you look at the one here in the back on the hair, on the high, which we would normally call a hair light or a fill light. No, actually, this would be the hair light. The fill light would be the rectangular one here, which just changes the shape of the light that's being projected onto the subject. Okay. Other accessories that you can use at this point, typically when I'm doing still life photography, I enjoy, there's two, I'll use either my 90mm macro, because the fact that I can go very close up to my subject helps with that type of a lens, which is having the macro lens. And if not, then I would use a long focal length, anywhere from a 70 to 200mm. The only thing is, obviously, I would have to push myself back to be able to. But what that allows me to do is blur the background first. It allows me to enlarge my subject. Let's see if I could get you an example here of something like that. For instance, actually, I like that pair. That pair really, aside from being a little comical, but if you look here, for instance, none of these images were really shot with wide-angle lenses. How can I tell? Because even if you look at this image here, notice how the verticals are all vertical and they're not leaning. I mean, yes, because of perspective, and this is the corner of a room here, in this hospital room here, probably hospital room. The verticals are not falling back or falling forward. So, typically in this particular style of photography, I'll try to either use a 50mm or up if I'm using a regular lens. And usually, even if I'm using a regular lens, I'll try to stay in the 75 to 200mm or 70 to 200mm. And otherwise, I prefer using, if I'm shooting this particular subject here, I'll be using my macro lens, because I know that my macro lens, up to about, actually, my macro lens has a limit. Infinity starts at 10 feet. So anything after 10 feet, it's going to be infinity on the lens. If I'm within those 10 feet, that's where the lens will always be its sharpest. Okay, more so than a long focal length lens where, sharpness starts at maybe 15 feet or maybe 10 feet. It all depends. It all depends on the lens. A lot of times when you look at long focal lengths, like with the 400 600s or the 150 600s or the 100 400s, your foreground focus, or I should say your front focus limit, is usually 10 to 15 feet from the camera. Okay, so in that case, those particular lenses, I'll have to be much farther back. But those particular lenses also give me more. Your angle of view is so much more narrow to the subject itself, and the subject is a little bit more flatter too. Okay, it flattens out the subject a little bit more, the way that we see things. Let me see if I've just missed anything here. Light reflectors, speed lights, strobes, soft boxes, lenses, close-up lenses, telephoto lenses. Cameras. That's a good one too. Yeah, you can use anything from a micro four thirds to un APS-C. Vous pouvez utiliser un plein capteur comme que vous voulez. Ça n'a pas réellement un grand effet en fonction de le style de nature morte. Whatever camera you have, you can use. I personally prefer not going smaller than micro four thirds if I can, or actually maybe even, I would even say 1 inch sensors. But you could use any sensor size that you have. Crop sensors, be it APS-C, micro four thirds, or 1 inch sensors, it's for sure that it allows you to get a larger depth of field using wider focal lengths. But to heart, I'm still a full frame photographer. The reason really that I enjoy my APS-C is because I know that if I put it on a zoom lens and I really have to prioritize focal length, then I'll use the APS-C lens. It's not to say that you can't use it. You can use any one that you want. They will all work. So don't worry about that. Crop sensors. And I think we're pretty good on that so far. Yeah, let me just check to see if there's anything I can add to this. Okay. So the tips on still life photography. Plan your shoot. Plan your shoot in consequence of the light that you're using. Are you using window light? Then plan it when you have the best light in the window. And it's not necessarily having the sun directly facing the window. Sometimes it's nicer to wait for the sun to be just a bit angled off to one side or the other of the window, depending on what light you want to use too. Do you want to use the golden light? In the sense of, do you want to use light from a rising sun or a setting sun? That will also change the quality of your light also. If you're doing natural light, the best natural light is always the days that are overcast. C'est sûr et certain, si vous allez utiliser la lumière naturelle de la fenêtre, planifiez votre séance de photo en conséquence de quelle sorte de lumière est-ce que vous attendez d'avoir. Si vous voulez avoir quand même une lumière qui est très diffuse, attendez à avoir. Puis c'est à vous que vous pouvez autant faire la photographie de nature morte avec la lumière naturelle, peu importe qui fait nuage, qui est nuageux à l'extérieur ou qui est ensoleillé. La différence, c'est que d'avoir la lumière d'une journée qui est nuageuse, ça va produire une lumière qui est beaucoup plus plate, beaucoup plus, pas fade, mais égale partout. Tandis que quand vous faisiez la photographie nature morte en travers de la lumière de la fenêtre, elle va être plus dure, elle va être plus intense comme lumière. Okay. Sinon, c'est sûr et certain, vous avez toujours les éclairages que vous pouvez utiliser alternatifs. Comment on dit? Man-made. Aussi, oui, ça c'est une autre chose aussi, excusez, je regarde mes notes. Quand vous planifiez les objets que vous allez photographier, soyez sûr que tous les éléments que vous introduisez dans la photo fait partie de la même histoire. Que ça soit une utilisation, que ça soit un forme en particulier, que tout marche ensemble. Est-ce que c'est tout du verre? Est-ce que c'est... Puis prenez aussi en conséquence comment est-ce que ta lumière réagit avec les objets que vous êtes en train de produire. Les objets que vous choisissez à produire en temps de photographie. C'est-à-dire que, when choosing your objects, make sure that, and this is something that we tend to be a little bit lax in our choices of what we use in this type of photography, is whatever objects that you're using, they all have to tell a single story. Okay, whether that be the relationship between the elements you've chosen or the objects that you've chosen, whether it is how they work together in the sense that, they could be all, it could be all electrical tools. They could be, you have to, and I can't stress this enough. In all of the photography that I've seen over the last 6 years, your story has to be concrete. If you have too many elements that oppose each other, then it's just a mishmash of whatever those objects are. They have to work together, and they have to tell the story together. And also the other thing is, also don't forget too, is whatever objects you've chosen to use to put together in your stories, discover how the light works on them. Do they, are they translucent? Are they transparent? Are they, the surfaces that you're using? How is it changed the light in the image itself? So these are all concepts that you have to really look at. It's not just, picking 5 things together, throwing them on a tabletop and just trying to figure out how to place them to make them work. You have to tell the story concretely. Okay. We did the ideas, low key, high key. So with this, how am I doing on time? I'm doing pretty good on time. Luckily, I'm Italian and I can talk for a long time. So, je vous souhaite on va pas mal finir ça à ça ici. Et puis, we're going to bring the discussion down to a little bit of an end now, and I'm going to wish you all a very nice Saturday, what's left of it. Have a wonderful weekend. Soyez sages, sane, c'est vrai. Be sane. I hope everybody is doing well still with this confinement, and I hope this here. John asks, how many images do I want? It could be, listen, I don't like putting those types of, honestly, I don't like putting those types of limits. They could be, I wouldn't say to, submit 20 or 30 images. That would be more for something one-on-one. But listen, do 4, 5, 6 images if you want. 6 different stories. It could be, different renditions of the same objects. John ici demande combien d'images est-ce que j'attends d'avoir. Écoute, je vous laisse décider combien de photos que vous voulez. C'est sûr et certain, je ne mettrai pas 20 ou 30 photos, mais je veux dire, faire, 5, 6, on va dire en bas de 10 quand même, mais pour donner, parce qu'on a vu même hier que, avec le nombre de soumissions qui a été, ça a élongé l'épisode d'analyse en tant que tel, mais quand même, si vous voulez faire 3-4 différentes histoires, allez-y, je vous laisse faire ça comme vous voulez. Si vous avez des questions, si des fois tu as besoin aussi, là, ça me dérange pas. Si jamais tu as besoin d'avoir une deuxième œil, on peut faire ça one-on-one en privé en utilisant. Moi aussi, j'ai le compte gratuit de Zoom que à date, ça marche très bien en face à face, un en un, or un sur un. So those of you who, if you don't know which images you're to choose from, whatever photo session you've done, and you need help in deciding which ones. There's nothing stopping you for, launch me a message or a text or an email and say, listen, AJ, I've got about 10 or 15 images. I want to pick the best 4 or best 5. Could you give me a hand with that? And I'm using the Zoom. I don't know if you've tried it yet, but it works pretty good. Zoom allows me to actually do this here, but one-on-one live with the person in direct. So I wish you all good photography. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll be back here on Monday for our second part of the 3 on the exposure triangle, which will be shutter speed. C'est-à-dire qu'on va être de retour lundi après-midi à 15h30 pour le deuxième de la série 3 sur la triangle d'exposition. Puis on va parler justement sur la vitesse d'obturation. Et puis comment utiliser le mode S ou le mode TV pour Canon. Et puis on va parler de ça. Je vous souhaite tous une belle fin de semaine. Merci beaucoup pour votre support. Comme je vous dis à chaque fois, ça me donne de plus en plus le temps pour me pratiquer en fonction de parler sur une caméra comme ça. Et puis, c'est ça. Fait que, merci beaucoup. Bonne fin de semaine. Thank you all for your support. I appreciate the time that you allow me to come into your homes and talk about photography. It gives me that much more practice speaking in front of a camera like this, and I appreciate all of your support. And you guys, honestly, your submissions are fantastic. I really, honestly, to see how many people are participating, for me, that's the beauty. That's the part of the beauty of photography, is sharing what we know with those who may know less, who may know more, where I can also, sometimes when I see certain things, don't forget, Tuesday, I believe you can check on the Gosselin Facebook page, but I believe it's from 12 to 1. On Tuesday, I'm doing a special presentation on mobile photography, sorry, meaning camera phones and tablets. En passant, n'oublie pas que mardi, de midi à 1h, vous pouvez vérifier sur la page Facebook de Gosselin Photo. Je vais faire un spécial, une présentation spéciale sur la photographie mobile, c'est-à-dire avec des téléphones et les tablettes. Et puis, peut-être qu'on se verra là. Je vous souhaite tous une belle samedi. Merci encore une autre fois.